We engineer orbital telescopes to decode the origins of the universe and sequence DNA to eradicate ancient diseases. Yet, on the exact same planet, we routinely reduce our own cities to ash and rubble. After every major catastrophe, societies clear the wreckage, build memorials, and solemnly swear to abandon violence. Then, a generation or two later, the assembly lines transition back to producing artillery shells. It is easy to label this cycle a burst of temporary insanity, but the mathematical repetition of history suggests that mass violence is a built-in function of human civilization. To figure out why the cycle continues, we have to look away from the battlefield. The answer lives in the underlying behavioral architecture that we construct during times of peace. War operates as a structured machine. It functions as a multi-layered stack of systems that humanity actively maintains. We visualize this machine as a three-tier system. The base layer is biological hardware, scattered individuals driven by a rational fear of vulnerability. Sitting directly on top is the operating system, human psychology. It takes those isolated, fearful nodes and snaps them into organized clusters. Through shared stories and symbols, our minds create a powerful sense of belonging. We form moral tribes. Once survival is tied to a group, the stakes shift. A simple dispute over resources escalates into a defense of sacred values, which generates a potent, righteous anger. Combine baseline biological insecurity with tribal morality, and you get a combustible emotional fuel primed for exploitation. Finally, we install the application layer. This is the massive weight of state politics, bureaucracies, and anarchic geopolitical rivalry. State institutions extract combustible fuel from the lower layers, scaling everyday friction into industrial slaughter. We engineered containment firewalls like international law to stop this. But these surface touches splinter under the immense upward pressure of unhealed moral injuries and biological fear. Without deep spiritual and cultural reconciliation to relieve that base pressure, structural firewalls will eventually melt under the weight of human nature. Now bring this architecture into the present day. We are feeding this ancient behavioral stack with exponential technologies. We are loading civilization-ending tools directly into the application layer, AI-driven escalation systems, cyber warfare, and engineered biotechnology. We have handed near-divine technological power to medieval political institutions, all of it commanded by Stone Age emotions. The old warning signs, troops massing at a border, are disappearing. Algorithmically generated disinformation campaigns or grid-paralyzing cyber attacks happen quietly, fueling asymmetric warfare. This is a strategy where actors bypass traditional battlefields to exploit a society's specific digital or social vulnerabilities. Because of this, the margin for civilizational error is now zero. If we wait until physical infrastructure is visibly burning to recognize a state of war, we have already lost the conflict. When you look at the math, it feels like a trap. We often assume our only two options are achieving a utopian permanent world peace or accepting our inevitable self-destruction. There is a practical third option, building a preventative civilization. This means treating peace as an act of aggressive maintenance. It requires acting decisively on the earliest warning signs of tribalism, dismantling propaganda, and treating moral engineering as a continuous operational requirement. We might never fully delete the capacity for conflict from the human hard drive. But by managing the pressure in the lowest layers of the stack, we can make mass violence overwhelmingly abnormal. Genuine peace requires the perpetual, active upkeep of a civilization whose moral imagination has finally caught up with its technological power.